Hey y'all!
Hey y'all!
Welcome to Southern Sober and Sassy. So, I have a prompting question for you all today and for Kristy. What happens when one program doesn't work for our recovery? So, what prompted this is I get to work with a lot of great people. And there is a resistance when I mention what recovery program would you like to entertain. And the reason is because I believe there's unity in community, and I also believe we have to find our vibe tribe, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have to find people that we can find similarities with and connect with. And so, what happens when a recovery program that we're entertaining doesn't work? What do we do? Maybe you've tried meetings, maybe you've tried sponsors, maybe you have worked the steps, or maybe you haven't. Maybe you did get treatment and maybe you gave it all and still felt disconnected. So, what happens when that happens, right? There is, Alcoholics Anonymous, after I got sober, I was sober a little over 2 years before I came into the program. So, and when I first came into the program, I tiptoed in there because my biggest fear was not, am I going to see somebody I know? Because through the experience and how I got sober, people knew my story. So I wasn't really worried about that. I wasn't worried about seeing people I knew. If anything, I would feel relief when I walked into those rooms because I would not feel alone. But there are people that don't want to walk into recovery rooms because they're fearful of, what if someone sees me? Well, the basis of 12-step programs is anonymity. That protects your privacy. That gives you a safe space to go to learn about recovery, to learn about getting sober, to learn about character defects, to learn about why am I holding on to so much that has actually pushed me to numb with, alcohol, with drugs, with food, with sex, with money, with gambling, any of the isms, right? I, self, and me. What makes me feel better about me? And for a long time, substances were abused. So, on the flip side of that, when we go and get counseling, when we go to treatment, when we get a therapist, when we see a coach, we have to look at, how am I going to do this? And you don't have to do it alone. And there are so many programs out there. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today.
Well, right off the bat, I was the opposite of Amy when it came to walking into the rooms. I was very concerned with, what if I what if someone sees me,
Mm-hmm.
or it wasn't necessarily what if I see someone that I know. It was, what if someone is in there and knows me and they're going to judge me, and the embarrassment that comes from that. Well, come to find out, that was all 100% ego. And the second thing about that is, I was very stunned, shocked, and amazed in a good way of the variety of people that were in Alcoholics Anonymous. You have judges, you have lawyers, you have business owners, you have mothers, you have fathers, you have kids, you have the rich, the poor, the old, the young. I mean, there's such a wide variety of people. And really, when it boils down to it, and it does boil down to it very quickly at every single meeting that you go to, is the root of the problem. We're not there. I don't care how you look. I don't care what you have. I don't care what your job is. How can you overcome this addiction just for today? They get down to the root of the problem very, very quickly. They do not waste that hour, and they do not let one person run the show. And that was very much so me for um, a lot of the time in the beginning. I wanted to talk about me, I, and it's a we program. It's not a Kristy program, and The common welfare of each program comes first. Each individual matters, but that's what sponsorship is for. Um, so there's that. You have two women sitting here talking about, we both went into the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. One was obsessed with what other people are going to think, and the other one wasn't. But the result was the same. The result was the same, that they both got better. So, to each their own. It doesn't matter what is going through your brain. What matters is that you turn the doorknob, you walk in there, and you sit down for 1 hour and listen. That's all you have to do. So many people think, oh, well, I'm going to have to talk. And do I have to talk at my... No, no. You do not have to say a word. You do not have to introduce yourself. You do not have to do anything on your first meeting. You don't really have to ever do that. It is suggested that you do down the line, because this is, all recovery programs are about the individual and eventually giving it back away to others and sharing it and keeping that circle of blessings going. But in the beginning, whether it's Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Sex Anonymous, Gamblers, Codependent, Emotions Anonymous, Blank Anonymous, just go.
Yeah.
Just go and sit there for 1 hour and open your ears and listen.
Which, Dr. Gabor Mate, who I love, so, he says that addiction is not a substance issue. It's a substance disorder. It's an intimacy disorder, which means we were not put on this earth to walk it alone. And that's why there was such a decline after COVID with people's mental health, and substance abuse was on the rise because people were isolated. Mm-hmm. And just like you said, Kristy, you're saying, I don't care what, it looks like. I don't care how many letters you have behind your name. I don't care how many zeros are in your bank account. Just like recovery, addiction doesn't discriminate.
Right.
And I think that's really important for people to understand, that there's no judgment. It is just a room full of people who want to get well and better.
And it's it's a serious thing. It's not a social club. People are in there trying not to die. It is an hour that holds depth and weight. We don't come in there and talk about shallow topics. We come in there and utilize what that hour is for, which is, I have a defect of character that is absolutely killing me, and how do I overcome it? This is the last house on the block. Please help me. And it's just those simple 2 words of help me that is a universal statement in the rooms of any anonymous program that is immediate. When you walk in a room, you're going to get help. Period. You're going to get help.
Yeah, I pulled up some statistics and data about why people leave the rooms. And a lot of people leave a program feeling defeated because they felt like they couldn't connect. They felt like they didn't feel safe. They felt they couldn't relate. They did not understand the language. And a lot of times people feel like, well, I failed it. One program not fitting does not equal failure. It means your heart needs a different route. Some people will thrive in 12-step rooms. Some people connect just with therapy. Some people need the trauma work. Some people need faith-centered recovery, like Celebrate Recovery. Some people need structure and accountability, and some need a community before they can do deeper work. And it talks about that even though everyone's on a different road, they all have the same goal. And where I think this resonates, and where I think the missing piece is, we're unwilling to be honest about what didn't work.
That is so true.
Yeah.
And we're also unwilling to be corrected.
Yeah.
So let me just touch on that for 1 second. If a successful person in life had to go through the process of being corrected, period, in order for them to be successful, there is a difference between being criticized and corrected. If you are not willing to be corrected, you're never going to make it. And that's just all there is to it. When someone walks in a room and says, I need help, and the help is given, that comes with correction, because it's it is a suggestion of how you can do things differently, because before you walked in the door, your life was sucking. Okay? So be careful what you ask for. You just might get it. You're going to get it. But with that comes correction. And it is correcting honesty. It is correcting willingness. It is correcting a closed mind to an open mind. It is correcting being impatient. And I want the results in my first meeting, to correcting it to being open minded and patient and saying, I'm willing to come back. I didn't completely understand everything the first time, but I'm willing to come back a second and a third. Because let me just break it down this way. If I want to lose weight, I'm not going to lose weight by walking 1 mile and giving up. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
I have to keep going. 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 Anything worth having requires effort. Period.
Yeah. The recovery piece is a lifestyle change. It's emotional, it's mental, it's spiritual, it's physical, and it's financial. And I think that's an important piece when we talk about what's going to work for me for my own recovery. Because just like you said, if I wanted to lose some weight, it's not about just the physical piece. It's about the emotional, it's about the mental, it's about the spiritual, and it's about the financial. Am I willing to spend money on healthy foods? Am I willing to look into maybe getting an accountability partner or an app, that emotional and mental? Am I willing to do the work on what's driving me to overeat, or what has driven me to get to where I'm at in the first place? It's also seeking other professionals, talking to your medical doctor, talking to a food coach. So recovery is a lifestyle change. It's not just one component. And I think what people are missing is the fact of, they hear people say, well, just go to a meeting and you'll be fine. It's so much more than that, and going to your first meeting, it's like, did I connect with people? Well, for me, honestly, I'm an introvert. Did I connect the first time I went to a meeting? Nope. I was scared to death to walk into that room. I was scared in the sense, I wasn't scared of seeing people I knew. I was scared of what was going to be expected of me, just like you said, Kristy.
Well, something else too is it's the courage of turning the doorknob on the door. Period. I mean, anything is only hard the first time. It's only hard the first time when you think about it. Anything you've ever, that first mile that you walked was hard the first time. The first meeting that you turned the doorknob on was hard the first time, but it was a little bit easier the second time, and the third time, and the fourth time, and the fifth time. So it's like, give yourself some credit for at least going and sitting there for an hour. That is a very big deal. I'm going to flip the script here for a second. Amy, or actually, let me backtrack for just 1 second in regards to being corrected. The same word can be applied, which is the word change. You are going, it's not corrected, it's not hardcore, it's not you got to do this and you got to do that and you got to do this and you got to do that. we're going to give you this suggestion and lay it on the table, and you're either going to take it or you're going to walk away from it. So there is no pressure whatsoever. We are genuine and sincere in trying to help you change. And with that comes correction of that you have to make a choice to do with your behavior, your thinking, your actions, your motives. And so it's just bit by bit by bit. One thing that I want to flip this script for a second that Amy keeps pointing out, which is a very common theme that we hear people say. Oh, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. Well, hold on a minute. Do you work for it? So let's backtrack into it. The program works. Whether it's Alcoholics Anonymous, NA, OA, GA, SA, ZA, whatever the recovery program is, it has longevity, credibility, and a very, very long history of success. So you have a program that already works. I have to mold myself to the program. So many people say, oh, well, it didn't work for me. Well, did you work it? Oh, well, no, I just went to one meeting. Or no, I never did get a sponsor or work the steps or get the literature. Okay, so, but the program still works. The program is still going, and it's going to go to the next person on the list, and it's going to still keep helping people. Okay? Meanwhile, I'm over here going to the liquor store again, going to the dope man's house again, going to that ex-boyfriend again, and overeating again. Okay? So when I crash and burn, then I'll hear Amy and Kristy in my brain saying, oh, maybe I need to work for it. And so it goes both ways.
The door swings both ways.
Right. Last but not least is rehab. You know, Amy and I, we work with a lot of people that have been to rehab multiple times. Especially on interventions, people will say to me, rehab doesn't work. I'm not going back to it. Doesn't work. It doesn't work. My answer to them immediately is, no, it works. You have to work for it. So the program of recovery has a credible reputation that we cannot deny. We cannot deny. It has helped millions of people. I will either rebel or I will conform. And I can either say, I can rebel and say, oh, it doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And go back to the liquor store and back to the grocery store and back to the casino and gamble my life away. Or I can conform and say, what if, just what if, what Amy and Kristy said is true? And what if I go to another meeting and open my mind just a little bit, or I open my mouth just a little bit, or I say hello this time, or I shake someone's hand this time? What if I conform just a little, just a little, just a little? It took time for me. Look, I did both. I rebelled and I conformed. The rebellion got me to a point that I absolutely 100% crashed and burned my entire life down to the ground. As a very successful person and mother, and I paid my bills, I made good money. I was a very high functioning alcoholic, still burned it to the ground. So as a result of that, it beat me into a state of reasonableness where I was like, all right, maybe these people are a little bit right. And maybe I need to stop being in denial and I need to let them help me. Keyword is let. So there's
Yeah.
that.
Besides the fear of being seen, this one of the second biggest things were I'm not spiritual, I'm not religious. The program of any anonymous meeting is came to believe in a power greater than myself, the God of my understanding. A lot of people come into the program angry because of the spiritual, the religious background that they were raised on. So they felt shame, blame, and guilt, and they wouldn't even, they had so much that um, religious and ingrained that you're not good unless A, B, and C.
Mm-hmm.
The program, any kind of anonymous meeting that you attend, those programs will tell you it is the God of your understanding. There is a God and it's not me. That's what I was told when I walked into the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. There is a God, Amy, but it's not you. Because I was running my own show for over 20 years. My ego, which was edging God out, kept me running pretty hard. And I was running the show. I knew best. You knew nothing. And so coming into the program and hearing that it was the God of my understanding, it actually relaxed me. And I was curious. When I heard people tell stories in the meetings, it actually lit light bulbs up in my brain of, wait a minute, okay, they did this or they did that and they're still here and they have 20 years and they have 15 years and then some of them I have 2 days. I mean, it didn't matter. It is a program, and to me it is a spiritual program to get to that point. Some people don't walk in, with that spirituality light bulb, and that's okay. It's not a demanding program. It's not a demanding program. If you have a desire to stop drinking, walk into the rooms.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a desire to stop using substances, walk into the rooms. If you have a desire, just like Kristy said, active addiction blew our lives up in flames. They will accept you walking in the door with ash on you, honey. Walk on in there with the ashes. They will help you. They will help you clean the ashes off of your body and your brain if you just show up. And if you still are resistant to it, I'm going to put in the notes different other programs. There's Recovery Dharma. There's Celebrate Recovery, which is strictly a faith-based program. There's She Recovers, which I think is amazing. They really focus on mental health issues. There's NAMI, the National Association for Mental Illness. There's so many things out there that you do not have to walk this path alone. But if you will stop and write down what your true resistance are, you're going to find that you're a lot stronger than you give yourself credit for, and that you can walk over the fence instead of riding it. You can walk over to the right side, because if you keep going left, you're never going to get right.
Here's the thing about Amy and I is we're not a one-stop shop. We just want you to get better. And we can come on here and talk about AA, NA, OA, GA, whatever it is. There are so many different programs. It doesn't matter to us. We come on here to give you our experience, strength, and hope to help ease your anxiety about getting better. We just want you to get better. We don't care where you go. We just want you to go. And Amy always is very resourceful in putting all the information in the notes, and we are just an email away. If there is a topic that you want to hear about, if there is a specific problem that you're having that you need help with and you need guidance with, reach out to us. reach out, send the email, type it up, and click send.
Absolutely. And just know that we are sharing, like Kristy said, we want to give you hope. Hope is hearing other people's experiences. What works for some may not work for everyone. And that's why we're here. We're talking it out with you. I say this all the time. I coined the phrase, we are all recovering from someone or something from somewhere.
Yeah.
And you not only need to heal, the biggest component of why we're here is you deserve to heal from whatever has kept you stuck and kept you buried and kept you bottomed for however long. You know, and I say this all the time, God saved me so I could help share my experience, strength, and hope with others.
Yep. And we're not going to stop.
That's right.
No, not going to stop talking about how good it is.
That's right. And we want you all to have a fabulous week ahead. And we're so grateful. If you're hearing this podcast on whatever platform, we're asking you to like and share with your friends. We're growing our followers daily, and we're so grateful for you.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.